All right. We've been eating out so much lately, and it's a lot of greasy, yucky food that just makes us feel gross. And we realized that when we have nourishing food in our fridge, we are so much more likely to eat healthy and eat at home. If you set aside an hour to prep food for the week, that is an hour that it's gonna take Postmates to drop it off at your doorstep. So you might as well have something that's gonna make you feel good. A kale salad is a great staple for us because it keeps really well in the fridge over time, so you can have it completely dressed and ready to go. We like to use quinoa, but you can always substitute farro or lentils or some other kind of grain. And then the way that we like to dress it can depend on the season or what you're craving. So we're kind of going for fall vibes since it's fall now. So we've got some crunchy apple, some sharp white cheddar, and some toasted almonds. So I've got 2 bunches of kale here that is washed and ready to go. And I'm just gonna take the spine out because it's really hard to chew and it's really fibrous. All I'm gonna do is take the end and pull it right out. When it comes to chopping your kale, stacking it up, and then I'm gonna take it from here and roll it so it's nice and compact. And so I'm gonna chop really, really thin little pieces like this. You can see how tiny and thin those are. This is gonna make kale a million times easier to eat, and it will also make it so much more tender. If you've got these ginormous pieces of kale, you're gonna be chewing forever, especially with your smaller little pieces of apple and almond and cheese and quinoa. Everything will feel really cohesive, and then you'll be able to get a little bite of everything. Okay, so we've got our kale all chopped up, and I'm gonna add it to this big bowl. So I know this looks like a lot right now, but we're going to massage it with some salt, and that's gonna bring the volume down a little bit. It's also going to make sure the kale is nice and tender. I also spun it a little bit more after I chopped it up just to make sure that it was extra dry. Any water that's left over is just gonna take away from the dressing really being able to soak into the kale. So I'm just gonna add a couple pinches. You can be generous with the salt because kale is really bitter and it can definitely use the seasoning. And I'm just gonna get in here and squeeze and massage, and you can already see how the volume has gone down quite a bit. Next, I'm gonna add our cooked quinoa. So this was a ½ cup of raw quinoa, and then this yields about 2 cups of cooked quinoa. I'm gonna chop up 1 bunch of scallions, and I'm going to really thinly slice down to the whites. And then we're gonna add those in. I think the scallions are nice because they give you a little bit of that like onion flavor without being so sharp. So now I've got 4 ounces of sharp white cheddar, and I'm just going to cube these up really small, a dice if you will. I want them to be small enough that you can get a couple of pieces in one bite and it's not so overpowering. All right, so this is all of our cubed cheese. And next I'm going to chop up some toasted almonds. I never measure almonds. Let's say 2 handfuls, which typically ends up being about ½ cup. And add them to our bowl. And I love all of these super, super tiny, like dusty pieces. We have our Honeycrisp apple, and I'm gonna cut this exactly like I cut our cheese so that they are the exact same size. I think this is the easiest way to do it. You're basically cutting the little cheeks off of the apple until you reach the core. Okay, and now we're gonna add this to our bowl. And apples are a super easy thing to substitute. If you are not into apple in your salad, that's totally fine. Craisins would be great. Dates would also be delicious. I've made this exact salad with dates before and it's so good. Feel free to swap out anything you want. Okay, we are gonna switch gears, set this aside, and make our vinaigrette. I have not purchased a store-bought dressing in years because once you figure out how to make just a really good base, you can customize it and it's so easy. We're gonna do that today with a little bit of almond butter. This is gonna act as a fat and also help make it super creamy. A couple tablespoons of almond butter. So this is raw almond butter. Roasted almond butter would also be amazing. Whatever you have on hand. Now I'm adding a tablespoon of stone ground mustard. I like the stone ground or even whole grain. You get this beautiful speckled vinaigrette throughout your salad. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of honey. So everything here serves a purpose. The Dijon mustard is going to help emulsify, but it's also going to give us a little bit of a spicy, acidic kick. Our honey, which I'm adding about 2 teaspoons, is going to add some sweetness. Our almond butter is gonna be creamy, fatty, and gonna add great texture. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a head start and mix it up. Only because the honey needs to break down a little bit, so it's not just a glob. Season with some salt, a couple pinches, lots and lots of fresh cracked pepper. That is my preference. You add as much as you'd like. And then now I'm gonna add apple cider vinegar, and I'm just gonna eyeball about 1/4 cup. Just gonna give it a shake. So we're going to make sure that our almond butter and everything is combined with our vinegar. Scrape the sides down. And now we're gonna add our olive oil. And we're just gonna aim for about 1/4 cup, so it's equal parts olive oil and vinegar. And give it a good shake to emulsify the oil and the vinegar together. My sneaky little garlic clove was hiding, so I forgot to add that, but that's okay. Doesn't matter when you add it, as long as you add it. I am so excited about this salad dressing. Like, how stunning is that? Like, the texture and the consistency is perfect. We're gonna add our gorgeous dressing all over our salad. I'm adding all of this. It might feel like a bit much, but I promise that quinoa especially is gonna soak up all of it. I think tongs are the easiest tool to use. Do a little bowl rotation as I rotate the tongs. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. So good. I would love to know what one of your fall staple recipes is, and I'm gonna go eat this on the couch.